Hey, what's up everybody? It's Larry the Batman fan. I'm back with another video here. So today we're going to cover the top 15 PSP games. We'll be doing this video, and I will be doing one more top 15. That one will be for the Nintendo Wii. And then I'm going to stop making top 15s for a while. I'm calling Anthony Chobot Does Pop Culture and Tech 2D Gamer out in this video. I'd like to see them do a couple of top 15 videos. I know Anthony Chobot Does Pop Culture has done a few videos. He's done two. So I'm calling you out, man. On this video, man, I want to see two more of those top 15 videos from you. You said you would do one on the PS2, and it's been several weeks that have passed and no sign of that video. Maybe he'll do one on his PS3 or Xbox 360 collection as well, if he has one. Or a Wii, or maybe a GameCube top 15. I'd like to see what his opinions are on that. But anyways, I just had to get that out off my chest. And now we're going to start this video. So the top 15 PSP games, without a doubt. Number one is definitely God of War: Chains of Olympus. I mean, I'm not a huge God of War fan, but I will admit there's no denying that game rejuvenated, I think that's the right word, or replenished the tiresome genre of a beat 'em up game. Brawler game with mythology brought the beat 'em up genre back to life. Because really the beat 'em up genre of games was dying. There wasn't that many games besides Dynasty Warriors and Streets of Rage back on the Genesis days that was really a brawler. There were some other ones, the Bouncer on the PS2, and I'm sure there were a couple others like State of Emergency, which did have some shooting in it, but it was a brawler as well. So there were some, Manhunt was kind of a brawler with with some stealth elements in it. But God of War on the PSP was a fire-ass game. It really caused people to go out and buy PSPs when they came out in 2006, I believe, or 2007. It just really was mind-blowing. It was one of the games to get if you had a PSP, as long as your parents allowed you to play it. Because I know that game was rated M, so for me, Mom wouldn't let me play it because we were in a Christian family, so mature games, R-rated movies, and some PG-13 movies were not allowed in my house. In this house here, so but yeah, there is no denying that game's great. That is a great beat 'em up game on the PSP, and definitely a reason to get a PSP. So that's number one. I don't have that game to show, unfortunately. I used to have it, but when you're younger, you trade off things for money, and use the money to buy pizza and new clothes and stuff. So you sometimes have to, or pay bills, of course. So that's why sometimes you have to trade off some of your games to get the money that you need. So that's why I don't have it in my collection anymore. But number two is this game right here, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I also do like Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops and Portable Ops Plus. Those were also excellent on the PSP. And I know there's also Metal Gear Acid and Metal Gear Acid 2. But for a stealth game on the PSP, it's done very well. The shooting mechanics in the game do work pretty well. Up goes up and down goes down. They didn't do that inverted crap that I hate. And it's just a really great stealth game. Gotta sneak up on enemies in the game and just, pop them in the head so they go night night. They go to bed, to sleep, even though they're not really in a bed. And you just go through the levels and you try to get from point A to point B without ending up killed. And you can also like camouflage your stuff, your whole suit, which is nice. All in all, it's a great game. It says the greatest soldier fights in the name of peace. Stories tell legendary soldier named Solid Snake, or Naked Snake as it says here. I've known him to be just called Snake. In the shadow of nuclear war, the soldiers into action into the first Hideo Kojima game on the PSP system. So I guess this was the first one. But it's a great game, and I really do recommend it if you have a PSP. It's worth checking out. Number 3 is Final Fantasy Crisis Core. Unfortunately, I don't have that game. I've looked for a copy online, but the prices have gone up. The game used to be like $10 at the most. Now the game's going for around $30 on eBay. It might even be more on DK Oldies. But that game is a great RPG game that has definitely got to be in your top 15 if you have a PSP console handheld. Excuse me. And it's really fun. It's like, I think it's its own story. I don't think it's a remake. You go through the levels, you fight bad guys. And of course, it's not a shooting game, so there's not really any guns or anything. You go from a point A, you fight the enemy, attack it, and then the enemy attacks you until one of you is dead. But you hope that it's the enemy that ends up dead and not you, of course. So it's kind of like turn-based in a way. Whoops. Sorry, I dropped one of my DVDs. Yeah, so it's kind of like a turn-based. But some of the Final Fantasy games, well, I wouldn't say they were action. No, not really. Sorry. Yeah, they're more turn-based games. They're not really action RPGs, But the game is great, and I definitely think it deserves to be on the top 15 best PSP games. Like, it's just that damn good of a game. So let's see, we just did 3. Now we're on to 4. The rest of these games I have. Well, except for Tony Hawk, but yeah. So technically there's 3 or 4 games I don't have, but here's number 4, Burnout Legends. I remember my friend Carlos getting this game back when me and him used to hang out before he moved away. And I was just so jealous that he had a PSP and he got this game with it, and I think one other game. Might have been Ratchet and Clank Size Matters or something. But he got this game and he was playing the heck out of it. And I had only played Burnout 3 on the original Xbox. I know that game was also on PS2, but I was playing on the original Xbox. But I saw a game like this and I really wanted to play it. Then like 10 years later, I finally get a copy of it. And I played it, and I thought it was really fun. Burnout series needs to make a comeback, man. They need to make a Burnout game on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Like, for real, I'm dead serious. Where the hell is Burnout? Like, everybody's focusing on, like, the Forza series, which I don't really like, and Gran Turismo, which I also don't like. But yet, we don't have another Burnout game. And Burnout is badass. Okay? Burnout is fun. You smash into cars while you're racing. You just blow things up. And, go for first place. There's some other modes in the game, like that mode where you gotta crash through traffic and hope that the rest of the traffic comes this way and that way. Left and right. and smashes, so that way you get like a million points or something, 50,000 points, and then that way you can upgrade your car or buy new cars. You know, it's a really good racing game, and I highly recommend it. Even for the PSP, it's a great game. There's also Burnout Dominator on the PSP. That game got ported to the PS2, but they never ported Burnout Legends, so it's exclusive. Number 5 is Pursuit Force 2 Extreme Justice. I also like the first game. This is basically a driving game, but it does have some shooting in it, because the premise of the game is you're playing as a cop who's basically got to catch up with the bad guys and take the bad guys out. And then like there's like a guy driving the car, obviously, and like excuse me, and then like you know, you go in a car driving around to catch up to the bad guy. Then you jump from that car onto the other car, punch the bad guy in the face or shoot him, and then kill the driver. And then you take over that car, and then you go through the rest of the level and get the rest of them until you finally get to the end of the level. It's a pretty good game. I like it. The only annoying thing was the sergeant, the guy in charge, the police officer, sheriff, that's what I meant to say, not sergeant, can be a bit annoying with what he says, like bothering the heck out of you over the littlest crap, and which is annoying. But other than that, the game is great, and I recommend it if you have a PSP. It's definitely a good game to get, and the first game. I actually, when I bought my PSP, I got this game, Patapon 3, and I think Dungeon Siege came with it as well, which was pretty cool. 3 games with my PSP for like, I think it was $100, and it came with the charger cable too, so not bad. Lego Batman at number 6. I am a big Batman fan, so I had to pick up a Batman movie and a game, and really this was my only option for a Batman game. For PSP. There weren't really any other Batman games released on the PSP, so I'll take it for that, because I am a Batman fan. Hence why my YouTube channel is called that. But it's a good game. This game's been released on pretty much everything. The Wii, PS3, 360, Nintendo DS it was on. The first game was only on DS. It wasn't on like the Nintendo 3DS. But yeah, the game, it's basically just a side-scrolling platformer. You get to play as Batman or Robin. Go through levels beating up like Lego characters, bad guys from the Batman universe. And, you know, when you beat them up, there's no like blood or anything. It's just they fall into little Lego pieces and then disappear. So it's basically a platformer game, side-scrolling platformer. And I like it. It's enjoyable. I'm not like the hugest Lego fan, but for number 6, I feel comfortable enough putting it there since I am a Batman fan. Number 7, this game, I actually paid full price when it first came out, and then years later I got rid of it, and I ended up collecting more PSP stuff again, so I went back and got it again. It's Resistance Retribution. A shooter on the PSP that proved that not all shooters on a handheld suck. Okay, now I know that there were a few duds for the PSP for shooters. Like I didn't think that the Tom Clancy games that were on the PSP were very good. They had some problems. Rainbow Six Vegas had problems, and Advanced Warfighter 2 had some problems. They definitely weren't great. But this and the Medal of Honor series, and even Brothers in Arms D-Day, Countdown to D-Day, Countdown to D-Day. Could not get my word out. Shit. So, yeah, those were some other good shooter games. And Call of Duty Road to Victory was actually not too bad as well. But this is definitely the best shooting game on the system. You play as a guy named Grayson. You and this girl, you're in this world where like aliens are trying to take over the world, And so, like, you two are like survivors. I think you started out with three survivors, but one of them ends up killed. So then it's just you and the girl. Although she kind of stays behind, but she does like help you in the game because she has like a voiceover in the game where she helps you get through the levels. You have exploding alien heads that, like, if they get close to you, they could severely damage you. The shooting works really well. The stick, moving up and down, everything, and the movement, walking from left to right, works very well. So all in all, this is a great game if you are looking for a shooting game on the PSP. I recommend this game, and it's worth me putting this in my top 15. Well, technically in the top 10 since it's number 7, but it's a great game. Yeah, that's basically the story of it. Is that aliens are trying to take over the world, and that you're this survivor who's got to, kill aliens and defend Earth. Number 8, I'm going to tie in the second game as well. I don't have the second game on me. I used to have it, but it broke or something. But that's Untold Legends, Brotherhood of the Blade, and the other game is the Warrior's Code. These were done right on the PSP. They're good RPGs. I highly recommend them. It's like a dungeon crawler action RPG. You go through the levels. You collect, little coins and shit out of these like chests. You beat up the bad guys with swords, and you like whack them. Go through the levels, try to get a key to open up a door to get to the next part of the game. It's a lot of grinding. There's definitely a lot to do in the game. This game, in the very beginning, you start out as like a weak warrior, but eventually you can upgrade your sword, you can upgrade your armor, your stamina, so you don't get as tired. Some other stuff. It's not coming to me off the top of my head right now. Sorry, my learning disabilities. That's why. But yeah, it's a great game. I highly recommend it. There's the back. They're just really great games. And then the Warriors Code also improved upon a few things that Brotherhood of the Blade didn't do. Like the weapons and stuff, you could upgrade it more than once. There was a lot of good stuff with the second game as well. So that's why I put them on number 8. They're really great. Okay, number 9 is Medieval Resurrection. I haven't had much time to play this game. I should play it, but I know it's a great game because I played Medieval 2 on the PlayStation 1, and it was a pretty fun like platformer game where you play as this dude. He's got like a sword and stuff. You go through levels whacking the bad guys with your sword. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. So definitely a great one. Moving on. I'd like to talk more about the game, but I see we're already at 18 minutes. I'm trying to keep this about 25 minutes. What are we on? I think we're on number 10. Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron. I know there's also Elite Squadron for the PSP, and there's Lethal Alliance and Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is a great one too, but that game's also on PS2 and Xbox. But this is a great shooter, another good one for shooting games. There's a couple of good ones. This is not as good as Resistance Retribution. That by far is the best shooting game on the PSP, but this is still nothing to sneeze at. It's a third-person shooter, of course, like Resistance, and it's done really well in the Star Wars franchise. Kind of reminds you a lot of like Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. Plays very similar to that. There's mission objectives in the game, and you got to follow the commander's rules and stuff. Kill a bunch of droids and bunch of stormtroopers and stuff, and all in all, it's just a great Star Wars game. I recommend it. Number 11 is Dungeon Siege: Throne of Agony, another good RPG on the system. Highly recommend it. Moving on. Like I said, I'm sorry. It's just I'm trying to keep this about 25 minutes or so. So now we're at number 13. I got EA Replay Collection. This is good. Gives you a bunch of like classic games on the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and maybe even on the PC and the I want to say NES. I think so, or something like that. But yeah, you get Bakuden, um, Wing Commander, Desert Strike, Urban Strike, Jungle Strike. Actually, I don't think they put Urban Strike on here. No, they didn't put Urban Strike on here, but they should have. There's Desert Strike, and there's also Jungle Strike. Road Rash 1, 2, and 3. You get this game called Bob, B-O-B, which is like a robot game, side-scroller. And you also get Syndicate, which I think was on PC. And you get a couple other games like Decap Attack and Wing Commander 2, you know. So it's a pretty good collection overall. I like this game. I do. Only wish that it had Urban Strike on it too. And maybe one or two other games by EA. Like, why wasn't The Haunting starring, oh no, that one was also on there too, I forgot. That one, Haunting starring Poltergeist. But they didn't put like, NHL 94 on there. They didn't put Generation of Chaos on there, which is a strategy game. They should have put those two on there as well. Why not have just made it even 20 games on the PSP disc? That would have been great. It would have had like 6 more games. But yeah, all in all, that's a great game. Good compilation disc. So now we're at number 13. Socom U.S. Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 2. I also like the first one as well. And I know there's a third one, but I never played the third one. This is a pretty good shooter. Definitely controls well for a shooter. But SOCOM is definitely not my favorite shooting game because it's very hard. I mean, like one hit and you're dead. This game, I think they made it to where you could take two or three hits, but that's about it, which is more fair than the older games on PS2 because one hit and you were dead. Very realistic and very hard. But you know, it's 4 of y'all. You're like the leader of the team, the commander. You tell them, go to that spot or come back to me, follow me, regroup, you know, or plant the bomb by that building over there that's like 3 feet away or something. And they usually do listen to you and your commands in this game. So it's still a pretty fun game, even for the PSP. It does work well. The controls aren't too shabby either. They could be a little bit worse, or I mean a little bit better rather, but they're really not like the greatest. Really, Resistance Retribution was the one shooter game that really nailed it. This one, you know, it was just alright, but not a bad game overall. You know, I still enjoy it for what it is. You know, a tactical shooter. At number 14, we have MX versus ATV Untamed. I got this in a lot with a bunch of other games, so off of eBay, so it came like this, but I do have the disc. And I like MX versus ATV Untamed. I know this game is also on PS2 and Xbox, but it's a really fun racing game. They actually had like 4 of these on the PSP, and this one is not exclusive since it's on PS2 and Xbox. But it's a really fun racing game with ATVs and MX bikes, and just go through levels racing other people trying to get first place. And I just think it works well on the PSP, and it's a lot of fun, so I definitely put it in my top 15. And number 15 is Tony Hawk's Underground 2 Remix. And that is definitely a fun sports game. Tony Hawk definitely focuses on the fun, and that's why I really like Tony Hawk, because it's easy to pick up and play, and it's not frustrating. And me personally, I'm not a skateboarder myself, and I'm not really a big sports game fan or sports fan in general, because I'm a fucking nerd. I'm not into like that sports crap. My mom's into it, but not me. But yeah, it's fun. You go around to the levels doing tricks and stuff and getting to skate and everything. Doing 900 tricks, heel flips, kick flips, ollies, and all that other stuff. It's a blast to play, especially on the PSP. It works well. So now we get to the honorable mentions. Here I have MX versus ATV Off the Edge. Very good game. That's, like I said, that's another one of the MX versus ATV games. There's also MX versus ATV Reflex, which I have, but I don't like it on the PSP. I think it's boring compared to the other two. And I know there was another one, Unleashed, MX Unleashed, which I believe is on the PSP, but it was also on the PS2 as well. Oh yeah, I can't forget Brothers in Arms D-Day, very good game. Star Wars Lethal Alliance. I've only got 5 here to show, but I am going to mention a few extras. Medal of Honor Heroes 2. I also like Medal of Honor Heroes 1. This one's not exclusive to PSP. It also got a Wii port, but it's good on either system. And then I have Virtua Tennis World Tour, which I'm not a huge sports game fan. I know I've said that a number of times in my videos. If you watch my videos, I really don't like sports games, but Virtua Tennis is very fun. It's easy to pick up and play, so it does have some enjoyability. It's not a game you can play for several hours, though, in my opinion. The most I could play is probably an hour, and then I get bored. But overall, still pretty fun tennis game. Other games on the PSP that I think are worth getting: Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. I'm not a huge Grand Theft Auto fan, but there's no denying that those games are just that damn good if you have a PSP. Ratchet & Clank Size Matters, Tony Hawk's Project 8, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops Plus, Metal Gear Acid 2, Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy. Those were remakes that were put on the PSP from the NES and Super Nintendo. I think there was also Final Fantasy 3. What else? Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Legion of Heroes 1, 2, and 3. Crash Bandicoot Crash Tag Team Racing. That was also on the PS2, but it's on PSP as well. Spider-Man 2. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 was a game. I know it was a movie on there as well, but it was a game. But I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Lara Croft Tomb Raider Legend. That was also on the PS2 and the Xbox and 360 and a bunch of other consoles. God of War Ghosts of Sparta. That's good too. And then, of course, Call of Duty Road to Victories. And then also Soul Calibur. I believe that was on the PSP. And then Dead to Rights Retribution. And I think that's it. Burnout Dominator is a good game as well. And then there's also there might be a Jak and Daxter game on the PSP as well, which is pretty good. And Tekken Dark Resurrection. There we go. I had to mention that in this video. I couldn't forget that. And also Tekken 6. Also really good games. And Mortal Kombat Unchained. And there you have it. There's some other games on the PSP. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Monster Hunter Freedom 1 and 2. Those Freedom Unite 1 and 2 rather. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite 1 and 2. So those are some of the PSP games that I think are great and worth owning if you get the system. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And God bless you all. And stay tuned because next I will be doing a Wii collection. I'm just waiting on a couple more games for my Wii collection to come in, and I'm going to film the video. So God bless you all and take care. Larry the Batman fan signing off. Peace.